अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयम्
पापं चरति पूरुषः
पापं चरति पूरुषः
अनिच्छन्नपि वाष्णेय
अनिच्छन्नपि वाष्णेय
बलादिव नियोजितः
बलादिव नियोजितः
काम एष क्रोध एष
काम एष क्रोध एष
रजो गुणसमुद्भवः
रजो गुणसमुद्भवः
महाशनो महापाप्मा
महाशनो महापाप्मा
विध्येनम् इह वैरिणम्
विध्येनम् इह वैरिणम्
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः
यथा दर्शो मलेन च
यथा दर्शो मलेन च
यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः
यथोद्बेनावृतो गर्भः
तथा तेनेदमावृतम्
तथा तेनेदमावृतम्
आवृतम् ज्ञानमेतेन
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन
नित्यवैराग्यम्
ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा
कामरूपेण कौन्तेय
कामरूपेण कौन्तेय
दुष्पूरेण अनलेन च
दुष्पूरेण अनलेन च
इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिः
इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिः
अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते
अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते
एतैर्विमोहयत्येष
एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः
ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्
ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्
तस्मात् त्वम् इन्द्रियाण्यादौ
तस्मात् त्वम् इन्द्रियाण्यादौ
भरतश्व
नियम्य भरतर्षभा
भरतर्षभ
नियम्य भरतर् नियम्य भरतर्षभा
भरतर्षभ
नियम्य भरतर्षभा
पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनम्
पाप्मानं प्रजह्येनम्
ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्
ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः
इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः
इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः
मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिर्यो
मनसस्तु परा बुद्धियो
बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः
बुद्धे परतस्तु सः
एवं बुद्धे परं बुद्ध्वा
एवं बुद्धे परं बुद्ध्वा
संस्तभ्यात्मानम् आत्मना
संस्थभ्यात्मानम् आत्मना
जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो
जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो
कामरूपं दुरासदम्
कामरूपं दुरासदम्.
So we had stopped studying the shlokas in detail, 33. Sadrusham cheshtate swasyaha prakrite jnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. So Krishna in the previous shlokas, he made it very clear. Every being naturally, as a reflex action, they follow their own swabhava, their own nature. Accordingly, they act. And now he's saying, Sadrusham cheshtate swasyaha. In accordance with his own nature, he acts. Cheshtate, he acts. Prakriter jnanavanapi. Even the knower of nature. What is the characteristic of nature? What is the function of the nature? What is the result of or the effect of that nature? He knows everything. He is jnanavan, prakrite jnanavanapi. He knows everything about nature. Swabhava, guna. He knows what it is. Its importance. Everything he knows. Yet, sadrusham cheshtate swasyaha prakritehe jnanavanapi. He also acts of his own nature, following his own nature. Prakritim yanti bhutani. All the beings also follow their own nature. Nigraha kim karishyati. When that is the case with all beings, including the jnani, what can nigraha, the being which is self-controlled, a human who is self-controlled or self-disciplined, what can he do? So, on the outset, it looks like there is no way for us to escape from the nature, the way Krishna is telling here. Because the minute we are having the mind, manas, we become individual, and as the prakriti, the nature of our mind, how it has been cultured is very much egocentric. It is always egocentric. So that is the nature of human being. That is how it flows. So all the thoughts are also coming through that egocentric mind as its own nature, swabhava. And jnani, even though he has the knowledge, he might have been having the theoretical knowledge of everything about prakriti, about swabhava, about guna. Yet, he will be acting according to his nature. So, slowly Krishna is turning his attention towards telling Arjuna about how to control that nature, how to channelize it. Because human being carries the actions according to the vasanas what he has. within him, which he has carried from previous births, and the environment, he becomes habitual. So accordingly, there is immense force of habit, and also the tendencies what he is carrying within. Accordingly, he is following all the actions. However, if one can channelize that habit and the vasana which he is carrying with him towards the goal of self-realization, there he sees the change in his chain of thoughts and chain of actions, which is rolling towards self-realization. So here he is telling Sadrusham Jeshtate Swasyaha Prakrite Jnanamanapi Prakritim Yanti Bhutani Nigraha Kim Karishyati. So even animals, each animal has its own nature, very unique nature, characteristic to that being, like ants, a worm, butterfly. They all have unique, specific character in them as their swabhava, own innate nature. And accordingly, they are leading the life. In the same way, even human beings, we also have our own nature, which is egocentric. At the same time, we are given the viveka, well-developed intellect, to use that viveka. So forgetting that, Arjuna is acting opposite of what his original nature is. He is a valorous young warrior. But he's trying to go against the nature by saying, I am going to give up everything and running away from the battle. So Krishna is telling, even if you think I shall not fight, your own innate nature will make you fight. So instead of rubbing against the nature, go along with it. Because even Jnani, at the time, he is having all good thoughts towards what should be done. But when it actually happens, at the nick of the time, he will be following his own nature. In Kannada, there is a saying, Suttaru Puttaguna Hogalla. Puttaguna means the innate nature. Even if it is burnt, it will not leave the being. It is that strong in every being. See what kind of operation Krishna is doing on Arjuna. And we are all Arjunas. We need that operation on us also. Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadvesho vyavasthitau tayor na vasham agachetau he asya paripanthinau. He is telling, the senses naturally experience indriyasyendriyasyarthe in the sense objects. The sense organs experience raga, attachment, dvesha, that is aversion towards the object, because that attachment and aversion is very well established in the senses when it comes in contact with objects. Indriyasyendriyasyarthe. Indriyasyartha is objects which we perceive through five senses. Raga dvesho vyavasthito. Vyavasthito means it is very well established. So it is there. It is very much there. Raga dvesha. As part and parcel of the five senses, which is always coming in touch with, contact with the objects. So Krishna is warning. Tayo na vasham agacheto. Don't come under the sway of that raga dvesha. Don't give the control to that raga dvesha, which is very well settled, well established in the senses when it comes in contact with objects. Because asya paripanthino, they are the enemies of spiritual aspirants or seekers. We all want happiness. What is that happiness? That happiness is nothing but the quality of self. So we are going in search of that quality of self, which is Ananda, which is possible only when we are in touch with that self. Isn't it? So, when we are seeking that happiness, Ananda, in the soul, this Raga Dvesha act as enemy. So don't come under their control, under their sway. Be firm and stabilized person. So, to tell it more clearly, because the senses are having well-established raga and dvesha, what is that attachment? It is the attachment towards the pleasures. Because I am getting some pleasure out of that object, I am becoming attached to it. Because I am feeling the pain with the contact with that object, I am having aversion towards it. But the objects are just the objects. It is our own mind, our own senses, which have those enemy kind of emotions in us. Raga, dvesha, pleasure and pain, attachment and aversion. It is very much within the mind. So if we are not coming under the control of that attachment, that aversion, I am certainly stable in that Ananda, which is very much the soul. Shreyan swadharmo viguna paradharmat swanushthitat. Swadharme nidhanam shreyah paradharmo bhayavaha. This is very popular, famous, and very meaningful shloka. What is it? Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha. Shreya, it is superior. It is positive when one follows Swadharma. Swadharma is here the natural thought, natural action which comes naturally to us. What is my swabhava is my dharma. What is my innate nature is my dharma. Dharma is that which holds. So, I as Jivatma is having some natural innate quality in me. So I'm holding those qualities, I'm bearing those qualities. So that becomes Swadharma. Following that natural which is existing in me from the beginning, day one. Following that, even if it is Viguna, even if it has the taint or even the tinge of some fault in it, Viguna, even then, Paradharmat Swanushthitat. Paradharma, it is, Paradharma is which is unnatural to me. Following that unnatural action is not all that great when compared to the action which is following Swadharma, the innate nature. So always actions done according to the innate nature, even if it is faulty, it is much superior to the actions done through unnatural swabhava, the nature. Swadharme nidhanam shreyah. And dying in swadharma, following the natural action which comes to me automatically. In that, if I have to die, that is Shreya, that is superior than Paradharmo Bhayavaha. Whereas following that unnatural actions and getting involved in it is Bhayavaha. It is filled with fear. The fear of downfall is there all the time. So, actions, duty is always connected with one's vasana, which comes as innate nature in us. It will be showing. So, what is my innate nature? Accordingly, if I start putting my effort towards each action, there is that cooperation from within. And I do see the success in my actions. Even if it is little faulty, there is way for me to correct it because I know in and out of how I am putting the effort, to what extent I am putting the effort. So I will be very free, easy with what I am doing as duty or deed or work or action. It comes naturally. So when I'm moving so smoothly, following my innate nature, I can handle that viguna also in a way. But when I see something else, even if it attracts the mind, and if I jump into that paradharma and start following it, within few steps of our actions, we will be falling down. And it is more fearful. So, what we can understand here is Swadharma, the natural inclination that we should follow. Even while taking up our field, we should be first give the preference for what is my natural instinctive inclination, what I'm good at. Maybe I'm not very good at it, but what I love to do, the talent which is coming from within, that I have to see and take the career. So if I go against that, and just because all others are taking some other field, and if I follow that, I will be failing in every step. And if I'm seeing the failure in every step, foreseeing the downfall, I will become all the more frightened. And the chances of me making the mistake in every action will also become more and more and more. So, even in spiritual seeking, one should know what is anukula for me, what is coming naturally to me. That path I have to follow. Only then we can see the success. Even if that Swadharma has some fault in it, or if I'm not very good at it, it's okay. Slowly we will get into the track and we will be moving forward smoothly, and we will enjoy every step. But it is not so when we follow paradharma, because there is disharmony within ourselves. My innate nature is dragging me towards something. But the body, my intellect, is dragging me in another way because I have chosen that action, which is paradharma. So, by this, we can also understand normally the parents push their liking, their dream on the children. They love to see their dream to the children. In that, we are making the mistake of not seeing what he is good at, what is his natural talent, what he has. Even if that talent is not economically making sound, if he is really good at that, he will be shining. So, following our Swadharma is really important. Swadharme nidhanam shreyah. It is better to die following the Swadharma than following the other paradharma, because it is filled with bhaya, the fear. So how can we see it? Suppose I have to reach a destination and it is really getting late, and I have a car which is troublesome, Dakota, and another person comes and says, you can use my electric Tesla, you can go but really fast in that car. Come take my car. If I am an intelligent person, I should say, even though my car is faulty, I know everything about this car. It's okay. I will manage to go there on time by driving my own car, even though it is like this. I am afraid to take this new car, which I don't know much about it. So I might cause accident, or not knowing much about that car, I might unknowingly stop the car and then I might not be able to go, and too much of hassle in trying out something new. So let me go in this car, isn't it? So even if I go, I'm late, I'm safe because I know how to drive my car. So like that, this body and mind is our car instrument. Because I know how it works, in what it is good, I will follow that and take this body and mind towards leading me to the goal, which is self-realization. अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पुरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः. So when Krishna is telling so definitely that our sense organs are very much the abode of Raga Dvesha. And now he's telling following the Swadharma is the right thing. So many questions are coming to him. So he's asking, Atha kena prayuktoyam. Prayukta means prompted. Papa charati, papam charati purusha. O Krishna, Varshneya, one who is from the Vrishni dynasty. O Varshneya, Krishna, tell me by what we are prompted to do the sinful acts. What is it? Anichinnapi. Anichan means even if we don't like to do it, even if we don't desire to do it. Anichannapi. Baladiva. By force. Niyojitaha. Compelled. What is it that is compelling us to make that sinful act, even though we don't want to do it? What is that force? What is it? So this itself shows that Arjuna has opened up his mind, heart, and intellect to dwell more deeper into knowing his own self through tackling mind and intellect. He wants to follow these high ideals which Krishna is proposing one after another, one after another. So when he naturally wants to follow those high ideals, he's finding it difficult also. Practically, it is not easy to follow. So the next question, he is trying to root it out. What is it? Even though I want to lead that ideal life, I am getting into so many sinful actions. What is that force which is making me to do it? against my will, even though I don't want to. The natural abode of peace and happiness is soul. It is there. Leaving that, mind, intellect is getting attracted towards the objects of the senses, because the mind and intellect are swaying towards the sense organs, getting attracted to the sense objects. So because of this, there is a great distance, void between Ananda and the objects which are attracting us, giving us the idea that it is those objects which are giving me the happiness. So I'm running in that direction, outward. But actually, the place of happiness is self within. So there is disconnection, because of which Arjuna is knowing it, that high ideal, what Krishna is telling me from chapter 2 itself. Slowly I understand, but it is very difficult to practice it. Something else is making me do all wrong things. The thoughts are coming in the wrong way, sinful way. What is it? What is it making me do those actions, even though I know it's not right? So, Krishna tells in the next one, Kama esha, Krodha esha, Rajo guna samudbhava, Mahashano Mahapapma, Vidyenam iha Vairinam. Kama esha. Oh Arjuna, it is Kama, the deep desire, lustful desire. Krodha esha, it is that anger. Rajoguna samudbhavaha, which are born out of Rajoguna. Mahashano Mahapapma Vidhi Yenam Iha Vairinam. So Mahashano, it is insatiable. That Kama is insatiable. So it is having that deep-rooted lust, the intense desire is like insatiable devourer. Ashana means eating. Mahashana means one who insatiably keep on eating like that. That lust is eating up the whole being. Vidhi, and no, it is the Mahapapma, it is the great cause of sinful actions. It is that lust, Kama, which also gives rise to Krodha, the anger. When we get what we want, what we desire, we are not satisfied with that and we are not keeping quiet. We want more of it. We want more, something else which is similar to that. So, like branches, it keeps increasing the desire, the lust for it. When we don't get it, Krodha comes. it turns out as Krodha. So it is this Kama and Krodha which are coming because of Rajoguna. They are born out of Rajoguna. Rajoguna, the Swabhava of Rajoguna, the quality of Rajoguna is to get involved, to get into action, to get connected to. So the mind is highly charged. Mahashano, Mahapapma, Yenam Iha Vairinam. And these are the real spiritual enemies. Isn't it? Why that spiritual? It is the enemy of the spirit. Spirit means Atma. Jnanis work towards going closer and closer to realization of self, because they know that is the ultimate peace and ananda one can get. It is the ignorant people who are swayed by the sense objects through the sense organs, in which raga dvesha are very much well established. They are going in that direction towards the world outside. So what happens naturally? They are getting into more thoughts, more desires, and more actions, giving rise to more effect as karma. So there is no way one can come out of the grip of sense objects once they have gone in that direction too deep. Just desiring something is one thing. Lustfully desiring something is different. That is the enemy of the eternal Ananda, which is self, the knowledge of self, realization. So here, body and the mind, it grows from day one, it develops. One's life is depending on the potential and the possibility of the mind and the body. So, if we have directed, nurtured the right thought of seeking the eternal happiness, naturally the quality of life will also be very different. So here kama, normally when we say lust, we limit it to the sexual desire. It is not so. Lust comes in different forms. Lust towards money, lust towards power, lust towards status, lust towards acquiring things to a large extent. So lust shows up in different ways. That is the one which is Mahapapma Iha. Iha, it means in this world. Vairinam, it is that enemy. So one has to control that. Because I'm thinking I'm the body, I'm the mind. That lust is showing me in a perverted way. It is reflecting in a perverted way the love towards the self. If you see why we do every action, why do we first of all get a body, a birth? The main thing is to seek that eternal happiness. That is the main purpose of every birth. But because our mind is going towards the objects which are raga dvesha, it is nothing but perverted reflection of the love towards the self. Let us think about it. Because I am thinking, I am the body, I am the mind. I want to satiate all the desires of the body, all the desires of the mind. And I am going in this direction to seek the happiness for the self. Because I love myself, I am seeking that. But actually, I am not the body. I am not the mind. When I am the soul, I should be seeking, my love should be towards the soul, which is not there, but it is within. So I should know body and mind, the sense organs, are only instruments. I am not those. So naturally, my desire towards connection towards the attachment towards the objects, outer objects, will become lesser and lesser and lesser. So, kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samudbhavaha, mahashano, insatiable, mahashano, mahapapma, vidhi, know it for sure, vidhi, yenam iha vairinam. These are for sure the enemies of any spiritual seeker. धूमे न व्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो यथा उल्बेनावृतो गर्भस्तथा तेनेदम् आवृतम्. This shloka is very deep in its meaning. It is almost giving us the full essence of Bhagavadgita and how one should go in the path of self-realization according to this shloka. This is very important shloka. Because he is telling they are like the Vairi, which are the Kama and Krodha. Kama is coming because of the Raga. Raga means attachment. But because of that Raga being instilled, it is giving rise to Kama. And then Dvesha, that is aversion towards something, which gives rise to Krodha. So, this lust, the very basic seed, the desire, which is picking up the momentum, energy in it, and the power in it to prick and get the hold of the whole being, mind, intellect, and body. That lust, what it is, how it is affecting us in much deeper way. Krishna is telling by giving the analogies which we all would have gone through. For sure, we all have gone through. So it should be easy for us to understand how lust is that influential in a negative way. If we are seeking that spiritual ananda. Dhumena vriyate vanhi. Yatha. Just like dhuma is the smoke, is covering the vanhi, the fire. Adarsha malenaja. Just like the dust is covering the mirror. Yathol benavrito garbha. Just like the embryo, the baby in the womb is totally covered by the womb. Tenedam avritam. Just like that, even the knowledge is covered totally, which is so true. Let us take one by one in detail. What happens? Dhume na vriyate vanhi. Vanhi. What is the innate nature of vanhi? The fire. To give the heat and the light. It is so bright, the fire. When it is covered by the dhuma, the smoke, one can see, but it is not clear at all. It is dhumena vrito. The smoke is covering, yet I can see beyond that. The light of the fire is there. I can see it. What does it say? Why he has taken this? Atma is light. Atma is light. That lust, that kama is covering in such a way that the Atma is not shining through bright. So what is that dhuma? That lust is sattvika desire. Sattvika desire is the quality of desire is sattvika. Yet it is covering the bright, self-illuminous Atma. It's still covering. For example, what is that sattvika desire is? My body is totally invalid to go all the way to Kashi or Varanasi. And I am on the deathbed. And if I have the desire, I want to go to Kashi and leave my prana there. I want to go there. The desire is very sattvic. It is good desire. But is it making me in any way be able to go there? Totally invalid. It's not possible. Yet I am having that desire. Like that, good desires, which looks good, but still it is creating that wailing of Atma. Instead, when I am on the bed, if I realize I am that Atma, the light, self-illuminous light. There is no need to have that desire of going to Kashi all the way. Let me go within. Let me have that deep connection with Atma. Nothing else is needed. That is the only thing I want. Atma, Atma, Atma. Who is Ishvara? Who is Krishna? Very much within. The job is done. But as long as I'm having that desire, I want to go to Kashi, I want to go to Kashi. The soul is not ready to move out of the body. I am not dying nor going to Kashi, but going through that turmoil. I know I am dying, but I am not able to go. So why that difficulty? So that is sattvika desire, like the fire covered by the smoke. It is the mind which is veiled. It is the mind which is veiled here. The next one, mirror. It is the dust which is covering the intellect. The mirror. Mirror is what is the innate quality of intellect? To reflect upon everything. To reflect upon the thought and the perception, what I am getting through five senses. The discrimination of things. So, the very innate nature of intellect is to reflect like the mirror. The dust which is sitting on that mirror is veiling that reflection which belongs to the intellect. So it is the rajoguna, the desire which is of the nature of rajas, rajasic desires which are veiling the intellect to reflect like clean mirror. So even that we go through in our life so many times. So many times. What is that desire? Rajasic desire. My capability is to take care of 10 children. But in the same class, out of lust for making more money and get another 40 children within one classroom, will I be able to handle that many children in one room? It is the rajasic desire, the lust, which is making my intellect veil by reflecting what I can do practically in this class. Like a mirror, the knowledge says you can handle only 10 children. But the rajasic desire in me is making me get more children and then face the music, not being able to handle that many kids in one room. That is rajasic. And then yathol benavruto garbha. Even this embryo, what is it? The baby in the womb is in the thick darkness, tamas, thick darkness. The very reason that embryo has entered the womb is to satiate the unaccomplished desires which are there as vasana in them. So it is carrying a big baggage, and it has entered the dark room with the thick wall of the womb. Ulbena, that is the placenta. It is surrounded by the placenta, which is again walled by the womb. So it is total darkness, total darkness. That tamas has totally enveloped. The tamasic desire has enveloped so thickly that I am not realizing that I am self-illuminous, self-effulgent Atma. I am that. That knowledge is enveloped, veiled because of the tamasic desire, the lust. So if we go deeper into it, the biological mother, in her womb, it is pindanda. In that the embryo is being, embryo is still cocooned in that unbearable womb, even though it is giving so much of nutrition. It's not easy. It is pitch dark. So it is there for 9 months for its deliverance to this physical world. Once it comes out, it is seen everywhere. It is so much of bright light, everything, and it thinks, Abba, finally I am out of that womb which had so much of placenta, so many things in it. I am not under darkness, tamas. I am in this bright world. But even though he grows to the age of 80, 90, we won't realize. Still we are in Brahmanda. Anda means the egg. Pindanda. We were in the biological mother's womb as Pinda Anda. When we come out, we think we are free. I am an individual. But no. Still we are in that Brahmanda, in much bigger egg. So we are still in that tamas only. We are not out of the tamas. But within that, we are increasing our tamasic lust all the more. One desire, another desire, connected desire, disconnected desire. So the desire keeps growing. And we are in the tamas, not knowing that I have not got that deliverance eternally. I am still in that Brahmanda. I am still a limited individual. That never goes. So, just like the 9 months, an embryo, the baby is in the womb, it is getting the nourishment, everything, and it will be delivered only when it is fully developed, fit to be delivered, only then it comes out after 9 months. Whereas here, to get out of this Brahmanda, we are going through Janma after Janma after Janma, each one for 100 years. Just imagine. For that many years, we are in tamas. And just the way mother helps the baby to get out of the womb, she puts the pressure. She helps, pushes the baby out. In the same way, to get the deliverance from this Brahmanda, Ishvara, our Krishna, Guru, and Atma Jnana, they give the push and we get the deliverance from Brahman. So Krishna is helping Arjuna as mother, telling him, you are that self-illuminous Atma, but the mind, intellect, and the whole being is veiled like one hymn covered by the dhuma, smoke. Adarsha, the mirror, covered by rajas, that is the dust. And the embryo, garbha, ulbena, by the placenta and the womb, it is covered. Till when you want to be like this, wake up. He's giving that warning to all of us. It is desire, karma, which covers depths, one from eternal reality, Atma, and the knowledge which we all have to realize, experience, is and that self-illuminous Atma. That realization we have to have. But we are getting attracted towards small, very temporary happiness out of objects, and we are losing our time and energy in enjoying and getting more desires and accomplishing it. So we are not thinking about getting out of this Brahmanda. So even the whole world, even though it looks so bright with sunlight, moonlight, and Agni, the fire, when compared to the beyond the Brahmanda, this is darkness, Tamo, Tamas. We have to come out of it. We are still in the womb. Avritam jnanametena jnanino nityavairina kamarupena kaunteya dushpurenanalena. He's making it again clear. Avritam jnanam etena. By this, our intelligence, our jnana, the real knowledge gets covered. Avritam. they get covered. Even for Jnanino, even for Jnanis it happens. Because we are mainly controlled by Prakriti. Nitya Vairina, they are the eternal enemies. And we are bound by that. And that Vairi, he comes in what form? As Kama Rupena, in the form of desire. Asaye dukkakke karana. Desire is the cause of sorrow. Buddha says, right? So, Kama Rupena Kaunteya, O Kaunteya, Arjuna, this Kama Rupa enemy, the foe, Vairi, Dushpurenanalenacha, it is like the fire which is very difficult to appease or quench. The desire keeps burning more and more and more. The forest fire, it starts as one spark and see how it picks up the momentum and gulps the whole forest. In the same way, one small desire gets so much of momentum in it, and the mind with good imagination and creativity, it goes much faster in search of new desires to accomplish. So it is like that fire which is insatiable. It keeps growing like fire, another like fire. Indriyani mano buddhi asyadishtanam uchyate. Etai vimohayatyesha jnanam avritya dehinam. Dehinam is the beings, individuals, jivatma. Indriyani mano buddhi asyadishtanam. For this lust, deep desire, kama, it is indriya, the sense organs, and manas, the mind, and the intellect are the safe haven, the abode in all the three. Kama resides because it has made indriya, manas, and buddhi as its home. Etai vimohayat yesha, being deluded by this, jnanam avritya, by veiling the knowledge, these sense organs, mind and buddhi, for embodied spirit, that is jivatmas, it really brings them down, it kills them, it destroys them. It deludes to such an extent that we are totally becoming invalid to experience that immense, deep Brahmananda, which is very much within. We have lost it because all the three, indriya, mano, buddhi, are swaying towards the objects. Indriya, it infatuates the mind. Indriyas, it infatuates, it attracts the mind. And that mind misleads the intellect. It misleads. And that intellect loses the discrimination. And it loses its power to see what is right and what is wrong. what is good and what is bad. Because that karma has taken place in these things. That deep desire. And that lust exercises its predominance, its control, dominion over soul by sitting here in Indriyas. We are experiencing all these things, what Krishna is telling. And because of that, our life, how we are leading, is going in this direction. Etai vimohayat yesha. Jnanam avritya. Why we are not realizing it? Why Arjuna is not realizing? So Krishna is telling again and again, again and again. These Indriya, Manas and Buddhi are not bad by themselves. Because the lust, karma, has made its abode as Indriya, Manas and Buddhi, they are corrupted. And the being is under the control of that lust, which is coloring the mind, intellect, because of sense organs and its connection with the objects. So, the purpose of achieving self-realization, that should be constantly there in our intellect, then this type of mistake will not happen. So for that, next he gives the map, how to go about, by knowing how they are interconnected, indriyas, mind and the intellect. Tasmat tvam indriyanyadau niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahi hyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. O Bharatarshava, Arjuna, tvam, better you in the beginning itself, although in the beginning itself, the senses, you have to control them, niyamya. You assert the control of those senses in the beginning itself. Papmanam prajahi, because the embodiment of sin is this, that you have to destroy. The lust which arises is the very cause of destruction of the whole being. So in the beginning itself, have the control, which is possible by controlling the senses. Jnana vijnana nashanam. And if you don't control in the beginning itself, it becomes the destroyer of jnana, that is knowledge of everything around me, what it is, what this world is, what is it made of, what is the purpose of this world, what is the purpose of this body, mind and the senses, that knowledge. And then vijnana, that is special knowledge, unique knowledge, which is the self-realization. That special knowledge is not intellectually understanding it, but experiencing it as well. So the self-realization is experiential knowledge which is very unique and special. That gets destroyed if you don't control the sense organs to sway with the lust. So control it in the beginning itself. And happiness is not in the objects of that. Happiness is very much within. So try to seek it within, not in the objects, by allowing the sense organs to run towards the objects and acquiring them. Don't give your control to those sense organs in the beginning itself. We can understand when the smoke becomes very thick, it's really difficult to go closer to the fire also, because it is making our eyes burning. And in the beginning itself, thin layer of dust on the mirror, it is easy. By just blowing the air, we can push it up. But if we leave that dust to be on the mirror for a very long time, it becomes so strong that we have to scrub it. In the same way here also. Isn't it? So, when we get the objects, there is happiness, but it is temporary. That happiness is very temporary, and it is taking me in the opposite direction. That we have to tell in the beginning itself. Indriyani paranyahuhu indriyebhyah param manah manasastu para buddhi yo buddhehe paratastu saha. So if we think as ignorant people, sense organs should be very strong, sharp, alert, and should get as much as possible, because I am given this body to enjoy. And if I go around wasting my time, energy, power, everything in satiating that sense organs, that is not the superior, most superior thing. No. Indriyani paranyahuhu indriyebhyah param manah. No doubt, indriyas, the sense organs, are superior to this physical body which is inert. Because the sense perception is running through the sense organs, this body is also acting, doing action accordingly. So, sense organs are superior to the body. However, param manah, manas, mind is much superior, because mind can control the body and the sense organs. If we see it, we can experience, we would have experienced. Many times the sense organs want it, but the mind says, no. So mind is superior. Manasastu para buddhi. And buddhi, which has the discriminatory power in it, viveka, that buddhi is much superior to the mind. Buddhehe paratastu saha. Saha here, Atma. Atma is much superior to buddhi. When that is the case, where should our time, energy, thought should run towards? Saha. Atma, not Indriyas or the body or the mind or the buddhi, but Saha, that Atma. Evam buddhehe param buddhva samstabhyatmanam atmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. Evam buddhehe, by knowing this, evam buddhehe param buddhva, knowing that Saha, that Atma is much greater than Buddhi, subdue it. Samstabhya Atmanam Atmana, the lower self, which is swaying towards the outer world objects. Control that, subdue that by Atmana, by the higher self. How is it possible? By turning the intellect towards the soul. Evam buddhehe buddhva, evam buddhehe param buddhva, samstabhya atmanam atmanam. So, knowing the soul to be the superior to this buddhi, which has the capacity to go towards the soul, but it also material intellect. So it gives its way towards the material things, the physical world. That you have to subdue it. That is lower mind by higher self. Jahi, that is win over this enemy, Shatrum, O Mahabaho, Kama Rupam. It is coming in the Rupa of Kama, formidable desire. Durasadam, it is so stubborn. It's difficult to subdue it, but you should do it. That Kama is coming in the way of me or I, realizing the real I, who I am. So, the self can be perceived only through the subject, not through the objects. When I think I am the body and the mind, and ignorantly seeking that self and the happiness through the objects. But that is not the reality. The reality is I am the self who is the subject, who is making this body and mind as instrument to explore and experience the objects. So, the deep desire, the lust, Kama, is not there when I am the subject. So, control, evam buddhehe param buddha, knowing that self is the much superior thing to buddhi. Control that buddhi, which is lower mind, lower self. It's very clear. In also Kathopanishad, they take the chariot which has four horses, the rein held by the charioteer, and the passenger is sitting at the back. This is the clear analogy for an individual. Within that individual, we can see this. The chariot is the body. The horses are the sense organs. The reins are the mind. And the charioteer is the intellect. The passenger who is sitting at the back is the soul, the individual soul, Jiva. So, when the whole chariot is driven, if the horses who are in the front, if they are not controlled, the sense organs are not controlled, the horses will take the chariot wherever it likes. And the passenger has to go in that direction only. So, if the mind has a good control over the horses, the body and the passenger will be under the control of this charioteer. And the passenger can say, go in this direction, I want to go here. I want to go towards self-realization. So take me within. The mind, intellect, horses will go within to see that real self, which is Ishvara, Paramatma, and the Brahman, Parabrahman. So, see how Krishna is trying to bring out Arjuna from the fear of the physical battle in Kurukshetra. That is how it started. But see where Krishna has brought him out from the mental war within Arjuna. And within this third chapter, we can see that transformation in the level of conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, how from physical battle he's taking as the mental war and he's giving the instructions. Like that, he takes him all the way up to make him realize who he is. So it's a nice journey, Geetarjanam. And Geetamrita is really beautifully taking us to understanding what the path is, what is the goal is, and the very purpose of Manava Janma. Krishna is telling. Slowly we realize just like in cinema hall, the light, light is the primary thing that alone matters a lot. Because of that light, the cinema film reel is projecting itself on the screen. If that light is taken out, all other things will become useless. In the same way, we having this Manava Janma, we should be concerned, in touch with realizing the presence of that Atma every moment. I am that light. I am that Atma Jyoti. Other than this ever expansive Atma, all other things are temporary projection of the mind. So Krishna is really telling us in so many different ways. So whichever clicks our understanding, we should grab it and take it in and dwell on it and grow on it and should become part of us. So in these three chapters, the main things which we have to keep remembering are yajna bhava, yajna karma, asakta, being asakta, nirasha, nirmama, and not giving way for raga dvesha, which gives rise to kama krodha. So these are the main things which is telling us to become that sthita prajna, which he described in second chapter. Om Bhagavate Vasudeva Om